Welcome in, Irish fans. It is Sunday, September 8th. And after a fairly disappointing showing yesterday, we get to talk about everything Notre Dame football from this past weekend. I'm not excited about it. You probably aren't either, but let's get right into it. Uh, I always make it a goal not to say anything bad about players as I play this game, as they play this game, and I guess as I play this game as a podcaster. And that's going to be a little tough to do today, but we're going to strive to continue to achieve that goal. All I will say about the overall quarterback performance yesterday is that I think it's time to move on. Now, I don't know if this is a coaching thing where our starter is being told not to air the ball out downfield. It sounds like that might be the case. Or if it's an athletic ability thing where we have a quarterback with a track record of not completing a lot of passes more than 20 yards. What I do know is that yesterday NIU's defense showed absolutely no safety help for most of the game and continued to dare us to throw the ball overhead, which is not something that we did terribly well. Saw 2 pass attempts for more than 20 yards. One fell incomplete out of the hands of Jaden Greathouse, and the other one was intercepted, 10 yards short of its mark. Now, I think that says a lot about the overall quarterback play, and I did say in my podcast on Monday that I don't think that Riley Leonard is the best quarterback on our team. I think he's the best athlete that plays quarterback. In this particular case, and after yesterday's showing, there's not a lot that we're going to be able to do if we can't throw the ball downfield. Now, I know Notre Dame's a running team. That's our blood. That's our DNA. That's what we do and what we do best. But when the other team is selling out on the run and only giving 3 to 5 yards of cushion for the wide receivers, which should allow them ample opportunity to get open with no safety help downfield, we have to air the ball out. There were a number of times yesterday where we had an open receiver that was ready to take care of business for us. And for whatever reason, the ball just didn't get there. So, my take on all of this is that I don't care how well a certain player, or any player for that matter, is doing in practice. If they can't show up and do it in the game, it's time to look at another option and give somebody else an opportunity to go and play in what honestly should not have been a high pressure situation. Certainly not a higher pressure situation than what we ended up with being on the road in College Station at Texas A&M. This is our home opener. This was supposed to be at least something of a walk in the park. But you still have to come out and play with some fire and some grit. And that was something that Notre Dame did not demonstrate on the offensive side of the ball after the first drive yesterday where we scored a touchdown. 2 interceptions, 10 points off of turnovers. That's the difference in the ball game by almost the entire scoring margin. It made certainly the entire difference in the actual game. If we don't throw an interception late in the fourth quarter and allow them to continue to run the ball down the field and kick the game-winning field goal, we still win a ball game. Now, it's not pretty, and certainly we would have deserved to have fallen much further in the rankings than I think we did. I honestly believe that if we had won that game by 2 points yesterday, we would have deserved to have fallen out of the top 10. That's the reality of this. The defense played well yesterday overall. I've gone back. I've watched the highlights again. I had a great view of the game from where I was sitting, and the defense has its struggles. There were certainly some sacks that we had some opportunities to make and we missed. The secondary performed just about lights out, which is exactly what we expected. They didn't give up very many plays, aside from that one big touchdown pass, which I don't really want to go back and watch that again, but it looked like we made a play on the ball instead of on the player and missed. And anytime you do that and you don't have safety help overhead, over the top, you're going to run into that situation. Xavier Watts made a great attempt at a turnover, catching the ball in the air, knowing that he was going to fall out of bounds and trying to get the ball back inside, where it could be caught for an interception, back in bounds. So, I love to see what the defense is doing. The defenses continue to play scrappy. They got pushed around a little bit on the run, which that should be of concern. And there are times when some of the players out there had the opportunity to go and make a play in the backfield, missed a tackle. I mean, that's something that the coaches are going to have to go back and evaluate this week and take a look and just really make some honest decisions about is it the same player over and over again, or is it multiple players? They need to figure that out. And if it's the same player over and over again, the coaches need to make the hard decision. I don't care how much NIL money's on the table. I don't care, what is backing the decision off of the field, off of Saturday. Saturday is where you go and play and where it counts. So if you can't perform on Saturday, you could be Superman in practice, knocking everybody over, and scoring touchdowns on your own or picking everything off and, causing 16 fumbles and great. You played hard through the week. But if you don't come out and do the same thing on Saturday, it doesn't matter how well you played Monday through Friday. And that's something the coaches really need to think about. Now, I said on Monday that we needed to air the ball out and we needed to get the ball downfield. And that was something that we just didn't do. Say it's not in our DNA, say whatever you want to. If you're not making big plays like that, big flashy plays, there's a reason we can't recruit wide receivers right now. Because that's what wide receivers want to do. They want to make big plays. And that's what quarterbacks want to do. They want to make big plays downfield. So we need to make a decision at the quarterback position. I think the offensive line played fairly well. I don't like the fact that we were getting blown off the ball a little bit on the offensive side. But that's going to happen when you've got 5, 6, 7 guys in the box again, just like we did against A&M last week. And, not in press coverage, but there was really no running room. And there was never any safety help overhead for most of the game until we got into those obvious throwing situations, and then they'd put 1 or 2 safeties deep. So that's something that we need to consider. And as we move forward, we need to give the quarterback the option to make a read adjustment and throw the ball over the top. And we need the right quarterback in there to do it. And I don't care if it's Steve Angeli or CJ Carr or Kenny Minchie or who it is, but we need to figure out who the number 2 guy is right now and make that guy the number 1 guy. Because I think we need the best quarterback on the field for the rest of the season if we're going to do anything to even have a chance to salvage this season. We fall out of the top 15. That only makes sense. Makes a ton of sense. So we lose at home again, maybe the worst loss Notre Dame's ever had. You got to do something to salvage your season. And I've been saying the same thing about Florida State losing its first 2 games and making a move at quarterback. I'd be an absolute hypocrite to say anything different about Notre Dame after 2 weeks of performance and not even putting 40 total points on the board in 2 weeks when one of the 2 teams we played was a MAC school. Riley Leonard got the job done against A&M with his feet. NIU looked at that and said, well, this guy likes to get it done with his feet. Let's make sure he can't. And the design quarterback run and the lack of use of Jeremiah Love and the lack of use of Jardarian Price and our very talented running back core. And then just the inability to get the ball downfield over the top. I know there's plenty of pass interference and things like that going on, but there were not very many plays where we didn't have somebody substantially open. And the inability to make the read on those plays and hit the open receiver is a real problem. And it's one that can only be addressed by either making a change in the quarterback room or making a change with quarterback coaching. Now, I put this loss on the whole team. I put this loss on everybody. It's a team game. It's a team effort. I would have liked to have seen some more support from the fans at the game. I would have liked to have seen the stadium get just a little bit louder on third down to try to help these kids out, because it's an emotional game too. And when your fan base starts dying on you in the middle of a game and not supporting, that's a problem as well. We got Purdue next week. I'll be covering that game later in this week, so expect that podcast to go up Thursday or Friday. Honestly, that's all I've got to say about the entire situation. If you want to go out and watch a podcast that's going to blast a 18 to 24-year-old, there's plenty of those out there, but that's just what we try not to do that here. So I love y'all. Keep looking up. Go Irish. Beat Boilermakers, and let's make some changes this week.